I didn't think I would be up to looking after him.
Certainly in time, you grow to accept him, to love him for what he is, the way he is.
Providing Nicholas with everything he needs is a constant struggle, a battle to find or desire suitable equipment, a battle to find the money to pay for it all.
There wasn't really much of places or people that you can turn to help you.
So everything that we did was with him was trial and error. We just had to take things one day at a time and just work through things, just me and him. Even the doctors couldn't help me much in that regard.
Latest achievement, this performance after only 2 lessons. Tackling disability comes natural for Nicholas. Disability is a word he doesn't seem to understand.
And sheer willpower, Nicholas is successfully driving his way through his 6-year-old world. But there are some things that still defeat him.
Like in the toy box in my room, I want to get something, and I can't get it because I don't have any arms or legs.
And he regards himself as normal, just with a few bits and pieces missing.
You kind of wonder, try to imagine what kind of future is he going to have and what kind of life this person is going to lead. I think he's going to have quite a good life.
And he loves life, and he rises to the challenge. He works out his own ways of doing things and surprises me constantly. He's a really good kid. He's really great. I wouldn't change him.
Cherie Long is Nick's fellow school captain. Together they say they can make a difference.
I think we'll be great school captains, and I think we'll make a better class.
But when he's not in the classroom, Nick's out here playing sport, and now as school captain, he's determined to make sports days wheelchair friendly.
We can have disabled wheelchair races, and so they get involved too. I was really left out last year.
But not in the playground. As strange as it may sound, Nick's the resident handball champion.
I sort of looked at my life and thinking, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. And you keep on concentrating on the things that you wish you had or the things that you wish you didn't have. And you sort of forget what you do have. tonight. Thank you so much for your welcome. It is my privilege and honor to say that this is my first official big trip to Philippines, and we can't wait to come back. If you've been following on my Facebook or on Twitter or on YouTube, you've seen that the greatest updates of my life with last year getting married, and we now have a 3-month-old baby boy. We're so excited. You know, I look at my life today and I say, wow, you know, it's so amazing what can come out of your broken pieces if you give your broken pieces a chance. And I'm 30 years old, and I want you to know that I'm not a superhero. I have my ups and downs. You see my foot? Ups and downs, ups and downs. And I now live in Los Angeles, and my passion is to reach 7 billion people around the world to let them know that there is a hope. There is a joy that you can have beyond your circumstance. I now, like I told you, I live in California. We have a non-profit ministry called Life Without Limbs, and we're so excited to announce that we're going around 27 countries, and in that ministry I'm able to share about my faith in God and how my faith has given me the ability to overcome. But also in life, you have to put your faith in action. You need to understand that every day your choices that you make about how you see different obstacles in your way in the healthy perspective to overcome. And tonight I want to inspire you. I want to motivate you to be all that you can be. You know, when people look at me for the first time, they see my smile and they're like, man, if this man can get through his life, then so can I. People ask, how did you get through your depression? Well, I'm going to give you some steps tonight on how I overcame and transformed my life from a life without limbs into a life without limits. Before I get into anything more serious though, I want to tell you a couple of funny stories. You know, when people see me for the first time, they don't know exactly what to do. And you know, especially little children, they freak out a little bit, you know. One boy, he came up to me and he goes, "What happened?" And I went up to him and I go, "Cigarettes." The kid's never going to smoke in his life, right? And I love freaking adults out as well. I'm so glad that I've been able to travel now 46 countries and meet 8 presidents and have the largest crowd of 110,000 people. And wherever we go, you know, there's always people looking at me and I just smile back. And one day I got bored on a plane and I wanted to do something a little different. They believe that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So, do something different. So one day I got my friends to put me in the overhead compartment of an airplane. You know where you put your bags up? Well, they put me up there. And as people were coming in on the plane, I'd stick my head out and go, "Boo!" Freak them out. If you haven't seen this one, if you don't believe me, it's on YouTube. One morning, we wanted to pull a joke on the entire plane full of people. On a 6 a.m. flight from Dallas to Los Angeles, we got on YouTube. I actually dressed up as the pilot. So can you imagine? These guys are 6 a.m. flight, they're half asleep, you know? They're drinking their coffees and they're coming down the jetway. And then they see me and I say, "Good morning, sir, welcome aboard. My name is Captain Nick Vujicic. I am so excited that you're joining us. We are trying some new technology." He said, "And what's that technology?" I said, "Sir, I'm going to be flying your plane." He said, "No." I said, "Uh-huh." some people behind him said, well, wait a second, how do you do that? Is that like with some brainwave technology? And I said, I said, pray that I don't get distracted. They were freaking out, man. They all got on the plane. And I walked on the plane. And I got the microphone and I said, ladies and gentlemen, the weather in California is quite fine at 74 degrees. And everyone, you could see all the heads. And they're like, oh, should we miss this flight? And I said, just joking. And they're like, oh my goodness, Nick, I nearly had a heart attack, you know? See, I can cause a little trouble on the plane because no one's going to handcuff me, right? I don't leave any fingerprints behind, you know? One day I was sitting on the beach and I had my foot under the sand. And so just imagine, you don't see my foot. So it looks like my foot's in the sand. And this woman came up to me and she said, "Whoa, that's impressive." I said, "What?" She said, "How long did it take you to bury your legs in the sand?" And I said, "A long time." So I figured out that she must have thought that I had my hands inside my shirt and my legs in the sand. So I waited for her to say goodbye and walk away. I didn't move. She walked away and I waited for her to look back and I just started walking like this. It was so funny, man. Anyway, one more funny story. The funniest story of all. One day I was in a car and we're at the traffic lights. And this car comes up next to us and this girl's looking at me. So I look at her. She's looking at me, I'm looking at her, she's looking at me, I'm looking at her. Now all she sees is my head. So just imagine all you see is my head. So I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm gonna freak her out. So I get the seatbelt in my mouth and I loosen it like this, so then I can freely move. Now she's looking at me eating my seatbelt. She's like, "Why are you eating your seatbelt?" And I'm like, So just imagine all you see is my head. She's looking at me, I'm looking at her. She doesn't see the rest of my body. I just did this. Her face was like, it was really funny, man. Anyway, so as a child, I was asking the bigger questions in life. And I was asking, why me? Have you ever asked that question before? Why me? There are times in life that you can control some things. But more often than not, we sort of focus on the things we can't change and wonder why those things have happened and rather change the things that we can change. And when you have that sort of positive, wanting to be positive or wanting to have a positive outlook, yet all you see is negativity, what do you do? For me, I was questioning, why was I born this way? And my doctors didn't know why, my parents didn't know why, and actually my brother and my sister were born after me with arms and legs, and no one knew why I was born this way. So I went to school and I was one of the first disabled students to ever go to a normal school. It was great because it helped me to continue to excel and learn and be integrated into society. But at the same time, it was very difficult Because wherever I went, whether it was in a public place or school, I always got teased. People looking at me, people pointing their finger at me, laughing, calling me all sorts of names. And I'd come home and I'd cry and I'd say, Mom and Dad, I don't want to go to school anymore. They say, why? Well, because they all laugh at me. Well, don't worry, Nick, it's okay. Don't worry. My parents were religious, so they said, God loves you. And I'm thinking, man, that doesn't help me to say God loves me. Where is this God? I didn't understand. And I looked at my life and I'm thinking, what kind of job am I going to get? And all these questions started bringing more negativity in my life. And I didn't know what my hope would ever be. So if this book represents my full potential, and I start my journey from over here, encouragement brings me closer to all that I can be. Discouragement takes me away. The same common word between encouragement and discouragement is courage. People look at me and say, wow, Nick, how did you get so much courage? Well, let me show you an example of courage. I'm going to jump off this table and do a backflip and land on the floor, okay? Are you ready? Girls, are you ready? Boys, are you ready? Sparta! Ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm kidding. If I did that, I'll break my arm or something, alright? I have no arms and legs, but I have a head, alright? Now for me, encouragement and discouragement, it's a constant war. And my parents always said, Nick, you're beautiful just the way that you are. We love you. Nick, don't worry about what other people say. They constantly planted seeds of love and hope. And I want to tell you parents of teenagers, you know when you tell your daughter, oh, you're beautiful. And maybe she says, of course you're going to tell me I'm beautiful. I'm your daughter. And some teenagers, they put up a do not disturb sign on their door, right? They don't want to talk to you. Your conversations like, so how was school? Boring. What'd you learn? Nothing. Did you do your homework? No. And that's your conversation. But when your teenagers put a do not disturb sign when you're trying to encourage them, respect the sign on the door. And go around the corner and stick your head through their window and say, you're beautiful! Because if you don't plant those seeds of truth and love, then who will? Because of the influence of media, because of our human nature, we continue to compare each other to everyone else. Oh, I wish I had that job. Oh, I wish I had that car. Oh, I wish I had this. Oh, I wish I had that. And we're looking for what? We're looking for happiness. You know, before I talk about thriving, I want to talk about surviving. Because I nearly didn't survive. Why? Because seeds of lies were being planted in my mind and in my heart, and I didn't take care of it. I didn't get rid of that. I let it grow and overtake me. You know what is worse than having no arms, no legs? Fear. F-E-A-R. False evidence appearing real. But when you have faith, F-A-I-T-H, full assurance in the heart of what? The truth. The truth, first of all, of your value. So many men, when maybe something's going wrong in our job and we can not supply and provide for our families maybe like we used to, you feel like you're less of a man. I want you to know that my wife, more